what are some of the major vitamins that we've seen associated with the telomere? Well, once again, B12 and folate consumption has definitely been shown to help the telomere. And you can see here in this particular slide what percentage of the population in the US consumes B12 and folate in adequate amounts. And it's kind of interesting. You can see this is a pretty new article in 2019 that indicates this. And you would think more people, once again, would do this, but once again, a lot of people fall short of the RDA. And the RDA was really designed to, or developed or looked at to avoid chronic serious diseases like rickets and scurvy and things like that. But we have to go way above that now. We can't just look at those particular major diseases. What about these predisposing diseases where a person goes into hyperglycemia, but they're not diabetic yet, or a person that's showing some vascular damage, but they're not yet into the cardiovascular event, like, heart attack or something like that. So it's prevention. So, that's where the future is really developing or looking at the optimal intake of each individual. We all have a different biochemistry. We don't all need the same amount of B12 and folate and so on, but what's that connected to? Well, think about that. What are two factors that affect homocysteine? Two nutrients that affect homocysteine are B12 and folate. And so by looking at people that have low B12 and folates are also looking at a potential elevated homocysteine, which eventually will affect the telomere length. So here's some more information about how the deficiencies of these two vitamins have shown to have a substantial impact on clinical health issues. And the big issue, and what I talk to my patients about, is prevention, is subclinical. You might not have heart disease yet, or you might not have diabetes yet, or you may not have arthritis yet. But what are you doing to decrease inflammation, oxidative stress, psychological stress? Are you exercising? How much are you exercising? What's your alcohol consumption? Are you smoking? Various things like that. So there's all these things that we all hear about, but it's like, why are these things happening to the individuals in a rapid rate? If I mention to this, unless you've been in practice for a while, if I mention to you, what nutrients do you think have a big impact on oxidative stress? And I think most people would say vitamin C and zinc and vitamin D and things like that. Not too many people would really talk about B12 or folate on oxidative stress. But you can see here that they definitely have a role to play, because once folate and B12 are oxidized, they go through oxidative stress, they are no longer biologically active, which means they can't maintain our homocysteine. They can't maintain other factors, whether it's the myelin sheath of the nervous system. They can't maintain bone. A lot of people don't even relate folate and B12 with osteoporosis, but it is. We know that those two have a big impact, once again, on neuropathy with your diabetics. And so these particular B vitamins are very important, just like other common antioxidants that we hear about on a regular basis. So what are some things that really predispose us to some deficiencies of nutrients? And there's no way I can, because of the time frame, that I could mention all these medications out there that affect our nutritional status, but I just picked out a few. And common ones, things that I see every week in my practice. I see numerous diabetics that are on metformin. I see several patients that have GERD that are on proton pump inhibitors. And of course, I see a lot of people on statin medications. Now, even though statins have a benefit in regards to anti-inflammatory, there's some role that there's maybe an antioxidant effect, they also cause deficiencies. And these are some of the common deficiencies of statins. And CoQ10 is probably the most common one mentioned, but D3 and selenium and vitamin K also come into play. And of course, these also have a role with oxidative stress. And just like the B12, the folate, and do as far as the oxidative stress. So if you know patients, or you have patients that are on these particular medications, you right away say, boom, these are some nutrients that are probably low. These nutrients are associated with oxidative stress. And if they're associated with oxidative stress, they then are associated with shortening of the telomere, which eventually predisposes us to damage to the chromosome. And we get these things going on. And if you go into the literature, you'll see that B12 deficiency, once again, is highly associated with Alzheimer's. And once again, people on these particular medications like metformin, proton pump inhibitors, decrease B12. And you often hear people say, oh yeah, you know, since I've been on that medication, my memory's going. Well, it's not just by chance, okay? Vitamin D has received a lot of press today, you know, depending on who you read. There's some that say, you know, the population, 40% of the population is low in vitamin D, and other people say maybe as high as 65 to 70%, or maybe even higher than that. And what affects our vitamin D status is a lot of things. Like I said, the statin medications affected. You know, does a person have poor malabsorption or inadequate absorption that's causing vitamin D? Do they have a history of Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or leaky gut syndrome? All of that comes into play. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier that magnesium has a role with the telomerase and also the telomere. And here's some information why. And we know that magnesium, as you can see here, has over 600 enzymatic reactions. And so the health of the cell is so strongly dependent upon magnesium. And as I mentioned earlier, psychological stress lowers magnesium. Alcohol lowers magnesium. Caffeine, because of the diuretic effect, lowers magnesium. And yet it's a very important structure. I'm not saying you can't drink alcohol and your patients can't drink coffee from time to time. And yes, there's articles that say that coffee does have some benefits, and it does, and alcohol has some benefits. But what is it doing to our nutritional status? And what are these micronutrients doing to the telomere or the telomerase? And so once again, very important. So you can see here that magnesium, as I mentioned earlier, has a huge role on some of these major diseases that we're trying to avoid today. Diabetes, Alzheimer's. There's information on cancer relationship and magnesium deficiency. Of course, we know blood pressure. We know myocardial infarctions. We know various things that come into play. And so once again, how is this mineral affecting our aging? Well, once again, if it's affecting our oxidative stress, then it's affecting our telomere or has a potential to do that, and we have to address it. And this is, once again, as I mentioned earlier, that magnesium plays a role in maintaining that telomere, the ends, the caps per se, of the chromosome by the activity of the telomerase. So the telomerase is very important for the maintenance or restoration or shortening, or I should say preventing the shortening of the telomere structure. So we know this, that the telomere breakdown or destruction definitely occurs faster in magnesium deficient conditions. And I showed you some data or some information on magnesium deficiencies and how often they occur. And once again, we know that, once again, as I mentioned, the relationship of this enzyme and magnesium. This is why, and I've said this to several of you that have listened to me in the past, and I say this in other lectures that I've done, if there's only really one nutrient that I could help or people with and maintain and keep in my office, it would probably be magnesium. Now, I want to relate this to another nutrient, and you all know this, that magnesium is very synergistic with vitamin D and vice versa. So when you talk about magnesium, you have to talk about vitamin D. And when you talk about vitamin D, you have to talk about magnesium. And then, of course, when you talk about vitamin D, you talk about K2 and various other things. So it's very intertwined with one another. And here's a great schematic. And this is out of Internal Journal of Molecular Science in January 2018, where they show you kind of the cell stress, and then they show you the telomere, and then they point out where magnesium comes into play, where it helps protect the mitochondria. It's involved in ATP production, and then it also has an effect on DNA and some other structures that, once again, overall affect the telomere. And so when it comes down to it, what are other things that can affect the oxidative stress? And like I said, there's numerous ones, but I just pointed some out just because of the limited time. But your omega-3s, we know that omega-3s help with oxidative stress. And this is why we're really pushing this particular product in society today. And once again, going back to dietary intake, what's a diet that is high in omega-3s? The Mediterranean diet. Now, I know you all have certain diets or recommendations and that's great. I'm just showing the literature, and I can also show you numerous pieces of literature, the Mediterranean diet and the chronic conditions. But there's a lot of changes out there today. People are doing keto and pescatarian and gluten-free, and sometimes we have to be on those particular diets, and they are beneficial for certain conditions, but what are they doing to our micronutrients? And then, of course, CoQ10. I mentioned earlier how CoQ10 was depleted or affected by the statins. And so once again, here we come into play. CoQ10 is essential for the mitochondria. And if the mitochondria isn't maintained, then the mitochondria integrity affects the telomere. So it's very important. So here's a summation kind of things that I talked about earlier on the slides, and this was published, you can see recently in April of 2021, how lifestyle affects the telomere and the oxidative stress and the damage, and how eventually we damage the lipids, the proteins. Of course, we have apoptosis, and then eventually that goes into the point of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, metabolic syndrome, and so on. So we can see how individual nutrients affect it. We can see how your lifestyle in relationship to like physical activity affects it, how your psychological status or maintenance or ability to decrease stress. I didn't put it in the slides today, but they've shown where, meditating has an effect on the telomere. And some of you, maybe all of you realize that or know that. But it's very important that we get our patients into a certain environment to decrease that stress, not just from a biochemical standpoint, but physical activity as well. So looking at some of these things, this is kind of a summation of how healthy lifestyles and oxidative stress are related in decreasing or improving the telomere, maintaining the telomere length. And these are positive things. These are things that have been shown out there to help maintain the telomere length. And you can see in the second to last bullet, it talks about the Mediterranean diet. Then we also see things like copper, iron, and magnesium, but also I'm going to show you how iron can actually be detrimental to us if we take too much. And then, of course, there's unhealthy lifestyles. You hear research or you hear different webinars out there that say, sleep is very important, that people that don't get so many hours of sleep are more prone to Alzheimer's or dementia or other things like that. So once again, that's very important. And of course, the psychological stress. The sugar intake, the carbonated beverages have been shown to be associated with shorter telomeres. Processed meats, once again, like I said, the heavy alcohol consumption, all of these have been shown to reduce the telomere. Now, what about iron? Even though iron is very beneficial in several aspects, you can see here that we have also found that if people have high iron intake or status, and this was based on serum ferritin levels, that they definitely had a detriment to their telomere. And if they have a low ferritin, of course, iron also helps the immune system. So if someone has a low iron, it can be detrimental if someone has too high of iron. And so once again, this is something that we have to start looking at because of the relationship to telomere. And you can see this is a pretty new citation that was noted there.